The first thing my daughter did wasn't hug me. She threw herself against my legs, wrapped both arms around me, and whispered so softly I almost thought I'd imagined it. "Mom, don't let Daddy know you're home." Every mile of the 8-hour drive disappeared from my mind. I looked down at Lily, searching her face for the smile that usually followed one of her games, but there wasn't one. Her little fingers trembled against my jeans, and her eyes kept darting toward the staircase behind us. Whatever frightened her wasn't imaginary, it was upstairs. If stories about hidden betrayals and hard-earned justice are your kind of escape, consider subscribing and joining us. Now let me tell you how the worst day of my life began. I wasn't supposed to be home until Saturday. My conference in Charlotte had wrapped up early after our biggest client unexpectedly signed the contract on Thursday morning. I skipped the celebration dinner, packed my laptop, and drove straight back to Knoxville, hoping to surprise my husband, Ryan, and our 6-year-old daughter. I imagined Lily racing into my arms while Ryan complained that I'd ruined the surprise he'd been planning for the weekend. Instead, I found my daughter begging me to stay hidden inside my own home. I quietly closed the front door behind me. The house smelled like fresh coffee and lemon furniture polish, but something about the silence felt unnatural. Ryan always had music playing when he worked from home. Today, there was nothing, except the faint creak of footsteps overhead. Lily tugged at my hand again. "Please," she whispered. "They'll hear us." "Who will?" I asked. She swallowed before answering. "Daddy, and the lady." A lady. Ryan had never mentioned anyone coming over. I crouched until we were eye level. "Where's Daddy?" "In your office." My office, not his. I hadn't been inside that room for nearly 2 weeks because I'd been traveling between client meetings across 3 states. The room held confidential files for my consulting business, financial records, and years of contracts. Ryan rarely stepped inside because he always joked the paperwork gave him a headache. Yet now he was upstairs, in my office, with a woman Lily didn't know. I slipped my phone from my purse and switched it to silent. Then I led Lily toward the pantry beside the kitchen, where we could see the staircase without being seen. Voices drifted down through the hallway above us. A woman laughed. "Once she signs the settlement, she'll never realize when it actually started." Ryan answered with a confidence I'd never heard before. "She won't question it. Emma trusts paperwork more than people." My heart skipped. "They were talking about me." The woman spoke again. "And the child?" Ryan chuckled. "She's already saying exactly what we practiced." Every muscle in my body locked. I looked at Lily. She stared at the floor. "Sweetheart," I whispered carefully, "what did Daddy practice with you?" Her eyes filled with tears. Without saying a word, she reached into the pocket of her little cardigan and pulled out a folded index card, worn soft around the edges from being handled too many times. She placed it in my hand, like she was giving away a secret she wasn't supposed to tell. I unfolded it. Across the top, in neat block letters, were the words, "Things to tell the family counselor." Underneath were 5 sentences. "Mommy gets angry all the time. Mommy forgets to feed me. Mommy leaves me alone. I feel safest with Daddy. I want to live with Daddy forever." I read them twice, because my mind refused to accept what my eyes already knew. Lily's tiny voice broke the silence. "Daddy said, if I could remember all of them, we'd go to Disney World." I looked at my daughter, and in that moment, I realized I wasn't walking into a marriage with problems. I was walking into a carefully rehearsed performance, and somehow, I had already been cast as the villain. I folded the card so carefully, you would have thought it was made of glass. My hands wanted to shake. But years of negotiating million-dollar contracts had taught me one thing. People revealed the most when they believed they were winning. Above us, a chair scraped across the hardwood floor. The woman spoke again, her voice calm and practiced. "We'll need one more recording before the hearing. Children are most believable when they sound spontaneous." Ryan laughed. "Lily's getting good at it. She almost has the crying part down." I felt my stomach twist. My daughter wasn't a little girl to them anymore. She was evidence. I leaned close to Lily. "Honey, I need you to answer something very carefully." She nodded. "Has Daddy ever told you not to tell me about the lady?" Another nod. "He said it was our special secret. Has she been here before?" "Lots." "What does she do?" Lily frowned, searching for the right words. "She asks me questions. Then Daddy says, I forgot something, and I have to answer again." The footsteps upstairs moved toward the hallway. I barely had time to pull Lily behind the pantry wall before two shadows appeared at the top of the staircase. Ryan came down first, carrying a slim silver laptop. Behind him was a woman in her late 40s, wearing an expensive gray blazer and carrying a leather portfolio instead of a purse. She looked polished, confident, and completely comfortable inside my house. "I'll email the revised timeline tonight," she told Ryan. "Just make sure your wife doesn't suspect anything until after next week." "She won't," Ryan replied. "Emma always believes the best in people." They both smiled. I had never hated a smile more. They walked out the front door without looking toward the kitchen. Through the window, I watched the woman climb into a black SUV and drive away. Ryan stood in the driveway for a moment, checking his phone before pulling away in his own truck. The moment both vehicles disappeared, I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. Lily looked up at me. "Are you mad?" I wrapped my arms around her. "Not at you. Never at you." She buried her face against my shoulder. I didn't want to lie anymore. That sentence shattered whatever was left of my heart. Children didn't carry guilt unless someone had handed it to them. I kissed the top of her head. "You don't have to." We stayed like that for nearly a minute before I finally stood. "Come with me." We climbed the stairs together. My office door was open. Ryan had never left it open before. The room looked almost untouched except for one thing. My desk had been rearranged. I knew every inch of that room because I spent more hours there than anywhere else in the house. My keyboard sat 2 inches farther back than usual. The family photograph beside my monitor had been moved to the opposite corner. Someone had searched the room and tried very hard to put everything back exactly as they'd found it. They hadn't succeeded. I opened the center drawer. Empty. The external hard drive that held 10 years of business records was gone. My backup flash drives were gone too. Lily wandered toward the bookshelf. "Daddy was looking in here yesterday." I turned. "What do you mean?" She pointed to the bottom cabinet. "He took out all your folders." I knelt and opened it. Every client file remained neatly arranged, but one blue binder was missing. I knew exactly which one. It contained every document connected to the purchase of our house, investment accounts, insurance policies, and our estate plan. Ryan couldn't have picked a more important file if he'd tried. I reached for my laptop. It powered on normally, but before the desktop appeared, a password prompt I'd never seen before filled the screen. Someone had changed my login credentials. My own computer had been locked against me. I stared at the monitor, feeling something cold settle over me. Ryan hadn't just planned to leave me. He had been quietly erasing me from my own life. My phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. "Hope you're having a relaxing last day away. Lily and I miss you already. Can't wait to see you Saturday. Love you." I looked at the message, then at the little girl standing beside my desk. He thought I was 300 miles away. He had no idea I was reading his lies while standing in the room where he'd built them. Before I could decide what to do next, another notification appeared. It wasn't from Ryan. It was an email from my bank. Security alert. Your online account password was successfully changed 37 minutes ago. If you did not authorize this change, contact us immediately. 37 minutes ago, while I had been driving home, someone had been taking control of my finances. For one terrifying second, I couldn't breathe. Ryan wasn't preparing for a divorce. He was preparing for my disappearance from every part of my own life. I didn't waste another moment. Standing in my office, I called the fraud department, using the number on the back of my bank card instead of the one in the email. Within minutes, every account under my name was frozen. The representative asked if I wanted to report suspected identity fraud. Yes, I answered without hesitation. Starting today, my next call was to my business attorney, Angela Whitmore. She'd helped me build my consulting firm from a one-woman operation into a company with clients across 3 states. I trusted her judgment as much as my own. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said something that changed everything. Emma, don't go looking for proof anymore. You already have enough. From this point forward, let the truth collect its own witnesses. By sunset, my passwords had been restored, my accounts secured, and an emergency meeting with a family law attorney was scheduled for the following morning. The missing hard drive didn't matter nearly as much as Ryan believed. Every client file had been backed up automatically to an encrypted cloud server months earlier. He had stolen a copy while leaving the originals beyond his reach. The attorney moved quickly. The index card Lily had handed me, the suspicious coaching, the attempted financial takeover, the unauthorized access to my business records, and the recordings Ryan had been creating, painted a picture no judge could ignore. Temporary orders were issued before Ryan had the chance to file his own carefully prepared version of events. The digital forensic examiner recovered deleted emails showing that the woman in the gray blazer wasn't a licensed family counselor at all. She was a private consultant who specialized in preparing parents for custody disputes by scripting interviews and manufacturing consistent narratives. Her invoices, addressed directly to Ryan, became part of the court record. When Ryan finally realized his plan had collapsed, he tried to convince everyone it had been a misunderstanding. He claimed he was only trying to protect Lily, but lies rarely survive when every document, every timestamp, and every email begins telling the same story. He eventually agreed to a settlement that gave me primary custody while requiring supervised parenting classes before any visitation could be expanded. The consultant disappeared from the case almost overnight after investigators began asking questions about her methods. Months later, our house felt like a home again instead of a stage where everyone had been assigned a role. Lily slowly stopped asking whether she was allowed to tell the truth. One evening, while we were baking chocolate chip cookies together, she looked up at me and smiled the way children smile when they finally feel safe. Mom? Yes, sweetheart. We don't keep secrets that hurt people anymore, right? I set the mixing bowl down and hugged her tightly. No, sweetheart. In this house, we tell the truth, even when it's hard. She nodded, as though that answer had been waiting for her all along. Looking back, people sometimes ask me when I knew my marriage was over. It wasn't when I found the missing files. It wasn't when I read the lies written for my daughter. It wasn't even when I realized my own husband had tried to rewrite my life. It was the moment Lily chose honesty over fear. That tiny whisper at the front door became louder than every lie that followed. Because no matter how carefully betrayal is planned, the truth has a way of finding the smallest voice in the room and letting it be heard. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more unforgettable stories of betrayal and justice, and tell me in the comments, at what moment did you realize Ryan's plan was bigger than a custody battle? Your thoughts might inspire the next story. Until next time, remember that no lie stays hidden forever, and patience often becomes the strongest form of justice.